So, real quick, kind of daily review of the financial headlines in the morning. Got my cup of coffee, as always, going, and thought I would highlight things that I found. So, first off, looks like quasi-independent third party in the IMF came out and kind of put a number on the cost of the trade war for the global economy. I think that's interesting because when you look at the U.S. economy and kind of context of the world, the American consumers can't carry everyone. And what you have now is you have the IMF saying this trade war between the two biggest economies is like a big dark cloud. And she went on further to say that it's shaving almost a single percentage point off the entire global economy, which is pretty interesting. I don't know how big the global economy is, but it's gigantic. So to think one thing could have nearly a 1% impact on it is pretty telling. So I think we've all known the trade war was a downer, right? Kind of a negative. But now we have at least a quasi-independent third party, not really involved directly, putting a number on it. I thought that was interesting. In addition to that, we have more drama, right, with WeWork, right? It's now boiling down to I don't know what you would call it, a comedy or almost like a sitcom, right? Back in the day. Now you look like you have the VC SoftBank kind of trying to push out the CEO, and you sort of already starting to see other executives leave. It really starts to feel like WeWork. I think the question now is is WeWork an independent entity 12 months from now? It seems like they've missed their IPO window. People now are generally questioning it, and to hear the talk about the bro culture in the Silicon Valley, kind of empowering the CEO to act a certain way is not okay. And we all need to be better and not let that go. So it'll be interesting to see where WeWork goes. I think the real question now is, are they an independent entity in 12 months? Clearly, the IPO is off the table. The big news of the morning that I didn't see coming. Again, I don't track Europe all that well, but it looks like the largest travel company uh, on the planet, which actually started in 1841, if you can believe that, just went out of business, just collapsed. And unfortunately, there's 600,000 travelers around the world that are stuck, and now they're trying to bring their people home. And it's a classic it's a classic story. They made some bad bets. They have way too much debt. They needed to sell 3 million trips just to pay the interest payments, and this is interest payments when debt is cheap. So clearly not a good idea. They admit that they were outplayed by more nimbler and smaller competitors, right? They probably got too cocky and too confident and didn't react in time, and they got taken out, right? There are, again, right? Think about it. Started 1841 selling railroad trips, and to think that they survived till nearly 2020, that's pretty good for them. But they couldn't keep going. They had too much debt. They actually tried to go to the UK government and get I don't know, saved, and the government basically said not a good bet. And now now they need to scramble and get 600,000 people home. So that's unfortunate, and I feel for the people stranded. That's got to be stressful. Looks like Roku is the latest to have a stock hit. Fell 30% in the last week or so on streaming wars. This again is just another example of why I guess it's too lazy to really pay attention to stocks at this level, right? You have market risk, sector risk, and company risk. And I've been burned many a times by company risks over the years that I didn't see coming. And things like this can happen very quickly. It's why I like real estate, right? Even if the market rolls over, it's even in the collapse, it didn't go down 30% in a day. And there were things you could do to sell more interestingly. And then the last thing I have is looks like Samsung is bringing out a folding phone later this month with a price tag of, get this, $2,000. So I see that and I think, all right, it's time to test the American consumer. This is a classic need versus want, right? If you follow this channel for any length of time, you know that I believe we have lots of wants that if we just put away and went after it another day and sacrificed and made those decisions, that we could all be better off. Um, I believe there's going to be a lot of people lining up for the wants, and they're going to be dropping $2,000 when they have a perfectly good phone. And we're going to see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe $2,000 is just too much money for a cell phone, right? I remember when cell phones were hundreds of dollars. Now, again, those were the quote unquote dumb cell phones before they were smartphones, granted. Yes, I am that old. But in the end, we're going to find out. We're going to find out how strong the consumers are, right? If the consumers are willing to plunk down $2,000 for a floating cell phone so they can flash it around at Starbucks and in the mall, and it's just talk about the ultimate need versus want. So we're going to figure this out. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be interesting. I think October is going to be really interesting because historically speaking, as we stated over the weekend, October is pretty, up and down. So going to be paying attention. Lots of good stuff going on. So we're going to see how the consumers do in the world economy. And of course, everybody have a great day and take care.